think now we can take a question.
Yes, with this, we conclude. Now we are open for questions.
Rather than we can moderate it by taking the Q&A box first, or how do we? Manoj will help us.
We can moderate it by taking the Q&A box. Some of them we have already answered. I think many of them would have been answered as part of our session. Maybe we'll take it up from there.
Okay.
Some of them are straightforward. I think we have answered.
Okay. We will take Ravi.
Yes, Ratan, you can just go through it. Then we can maybe address them.
Yes, sir.
Manoj, we have another 15 minutes to go, no?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Okay.
There is a question from Mr. Naresh Parikh as to can we claim the tax if part of the tax is currently claimed as refund, but some part remain unclaimed or refunded and becomes a cost to the company. Like in respect of that export product, whatever will be the rate, that will be the benefit that will come under the scheme. I think there may be no situation of claiming partly, not claiming partly, etc. That may not be a scenario.
Right.
There are some questions on why pharma industry, steel industries have been kept out of the scheme. In fact, we need to know from the government as to what are the reasons for keeping these industries out of the scheme, and if and when the benefit is available for these industries, then what will be the rate, and one and two is whether it will be retrospectively or prospectively, because there was no indication in the earlier notification that these are the industries which will not be eligible for the scheme, because MEIS was available for all these exports made by these industries. And many of them would have definitely claimed in the shipping bills the benefit, intention to get the benefit.
Is it, Ravi, the RoDTEP scheme is linked to the PLI scheme introduced by the government?
In which case, then there will be other industries also, because 11 to 13 industries are covered under that. So, in which case, many of those also would have been out of this scheme. Doesn't seem to be the reason, but there is no indication whatsoever at the time, the initial stages on introduction. And many of these NTP units were claiming MEIS also. And when they were exporting, they definitely would have staked their claim for the RoDTEP benefit. And suddenly now the scheme notification says that these industries are not covered. Definitely they have to represent and maybe show that there has been discrimination.
Is it so? Therefore, your answer is it is not linked to the PLI.
May not be linked, because there are other industries also which are covered under the PLI scheme. So therefore, those products also should have been out if that was the intention. At least, or that is also not forthcoming from the notification or any other communications from the government.
One of the indications they mentioned that if any subsidy or any kind of exemption from government, central government, state government, if they are getting, probably they may not get that.
But subsidy from the state government, Ratan, maybe because of various incentives that were being given by the state government authorities under VAT and other laws earlier.
Correct.
So that they intended to continue only as part of the SGST benefit, not as part of the other benefits also. For example, I pay cess on coal, and that I am not getting benefit from the state government as any incentive or a subsidy, that they cannot say that I will not be eligible for the RoDTEP benefit.
Yes. One question, RoDTEP available in case of supply to SEZ, even payment received in INR? So answer is no. DTA to SEZ, if you supply, RoDTEP is not available. But if goods are exported by DTA through SEZ, and if you realize freely convertible currency, then RoDTEP benefit is available. Does the government have power not to notify the benefit, though the committee has assessed and recommended the benefit? Yes, they have, because recommendation of the committee may not be final. They will recommend, but ultimately the Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Finance will take a call on. And therefore, that Ravi sir mentioned also, central government has power to include or delete any of the categories for the purpose of benefit.
Most of the other questions I think have been answered, at least in the Q&A, which have been answered as part of our thing. If anybody, any of the participants have any specific question which they feel we have not addressed, maybe they can raise. Manoj, you can just take it up.
One question, is this scheme applicable to service provider? No, this is for export of goods.
So what happens to service exports in the last 2 years or 3 years? Nothing is getting disbursed to the service exporters.
Because I am told at that sometime back that service industry was otherwise doing well. They
Hmm.
don't get these kind of incentives from government, so therefore SES also was not given.
Oh,
Road tape scheme is allowed for export on EPCG. No, it will be goods falling under this Appendix 4R. If you are exporting, then you will get that benefit.
so the EPC license holder fulfilling the export obligation and claiming drawback and road up scheme, no problem, isn't it?
No problem. Yes, sir.
And then is this linked to the GST, the exports under the GST scheme, or those are all independent? That is, you claim refund under the GST and still claim this scheme.
Road tape. Yes, yes. That
Yes, because that will be again your benefit will be restricted to whatever are the embedded taxes and duties.
Hmm.
So that is the percentage, because I can export my goods, claim a refund under the section 54 read with 96, rule 96, and or maybe under rule 89 also,
Hmm.
and still be eligible for this benefit under the scheme. There may be a reduced rate, and even there I can show that if my embedded taxes are more than what is the rate given, I can still have a case to contend that
Represent.
yes, represent and get a higher rate fixed.
whether benefits will be extended to manufacturing goods of 7325 and 7304 steel industries. So answer is the categories who have been excluded, they should make representation. If they have made representation earlier when data was called for, so probably they should also be part of this scheme. So representation through association will help them. Then road.
In fact, Ratan, taking forward what you just said, in fact, we already have a number of queries from different um, clients from different industries as to one a comparison of what is the benefit that they are expecting under the or getting under the MEIS and what they expected as part of this may not be at par with what MEIS benefit they got, but at least substantially higher than what has been notified now. And in fact, it's now the time for to undertake this exercise to see what benefit whether this benefit or percentage given can be increased. As I said earlier, also with the justifiable computation and documentation, and maybe represent to the committee or to the government. And that exercise, in fact, we have already started for a number of clients. So I think, and one idea, basic thing would be that individually there is no point in going to the government. Maybe through associations would be the best option as of now, or through the trade bodies.
One thing is that when this press release was issued in December 2020, at that time they indicated budget for road tape was around 50,000 crores. But now when they've included this 8,500 products, so budget seems to be 12,000 crores also. So overall budget for this benefit, I think would be criteria for government also to increase or to include and all those things.
Correct.
We are exporting goods on payment of IGST. Yes, road tape benefit would be available. I think majority of the questions we have already covered in this.
Manoj, maybe you can open the floor for any specific questions from the participants if we have not addressed them based on number of questions that have been come.
Sure,
Most
sir,
of them
we
are
can-
repetitive. Yeah, Fraser.
Sure, sir. We can open the floor for a verbal Q&A for the remainder of the time.
Yeah, you can restrict it depending on whatever time is available.
Sure, sir. The participants who would like to ask questions are requested to raise their hands. I repeat, participants who would like to ask questions are requested to raise their hands. We have the first question from the line of Mr. Sridhar Mulya. Mr. Mulya, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead. Mr. Sridhar Mulya, if you can hear us, your line has been unmuted. Request you to please go ahead.
Maybe we can talk to the next
Yes.
person.
The next question is from the line of Mr. Kanan K. Mr. Kanan K, we have unmuted your line. Request you to unmute it from your end and please go ahead.
Yes. Sir, good evening, sir. Vishwanath sir, Ravi sir. Actually, excellent
Good evening.
presentation. Only one question from my side is actually the declaration, what you quoted, intent to declare, no need to mention in this. Actually, I have to select only yes or no in the shipping bill filing. This is my input. No need to declare what we mentioned for MEA's claiming. I want to declare, I want to claim, we want to claim the MEA's benefit. No need to mention here. Only yes or no in the info type, I want to select it while file shipping bill. This is my input. And the second one is what we given this form R1, R2, R3 during October 2020, October 19 to March 20 data we given. That time diesel price was 66 rupees per liter. Now the price is 95 rupees. We already taken up with the drawback committee, ROTF committee, as well as through EPC and ACMA also for additional 44% hike. Okay, last week itself we taken up. And one question from my side is, for example, this is all reimbursement of taxes, embedded taxes. Okay. Now, where is the question of budget constraints, sir? Here, I already paid this. This is a diesel cost. They already collected by the government. All the reimbursement taxes. What is the budget constraint from the government side?
Ravi, you would like to. Sir, just as every MNC has a budget, so also the government. And we have seen the budget constraint comes when the lawyer raises a bill. The same way.
Yeah, I think you rightly said, sir, that though there was no need to actually give any intention by writing, as under the MEA scheme, just to mention why is sufficient to get the benefit.
Correct.
Also, the rates. In fact, that's the reason why precisely why we said that the in data which they have for a 6-month period of 1920 is seems to be the basis for the rates that have been fixed in Appendix 4R now. In fact, that also is substantially low. We have checked in number of cases. So that's the need why. That's the reason why we said there is definitely need for representation.
Yes. We done it, sir. Actually, we done it.
Government can always say that it is in public policy or that they can go ahead with the budgetary constraint, but definitely that cannot be a basis. In fact, nobody expected any budgetary restrictions under the MEI scheme also. Suddenly one fine morning you find a notification saying that benefit will be only restricted up to 2 crores. Many people were expecting more than 100, 200 crores of benefit, and they all found out that one fine morning it's only 2 crores of benefit that you will get, and that's the end of it. And even in that also nobody has received it as of now. So and invariably most of the exporters factor whatever benefit you get, if not fully, at least some part of it, so that you can compete in the international market, and all that goes for a toss with this budgetary restrictions and all that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Also they have to reimburse the committee's expenses also, no? So that also comes from this budget allocation.
That will not be substantial, sir, as compared to the restrictions that they are putting in.
Next question is from the line of Mr. Ravi Tripathi. Mr. Tripathi, your line has been unmuted. Request you to please unmute it from your end and ask your question. Looks like there's no reply. We'll move forward.
There's one question from Mr. Ramasamy as to, does this e-script has an expiry date, and say if it is not used in 1 year, or will it expire or not? As of now, that doesn't seem to be the case. There is no such restriction. So if you get the script today, you can maybe use it after a particular point of time. But we do not know if one fine morning the government says that this is the end of the ROTF's benefit of the script to be claimed, then they can put a curb on it, and people retaining it will have problem.
Also, Ravi, it is too early to say because the procedural aspect is still to be notified. They may put some expiry time limit also, or the time limit in which it should be used. Therefore, we need to avoid the procedure aspect.
Correct. But the only thing is, sir, my at least take on this would be that any person getting benefit under the scheme and is not likely to have any imports in the near future or in the foreseeable future, there is no point in him retaining the scrip. It's better off for them to, in fact, trade in the scrips or allow people who can use the BCD use for the benefit of BCD. That's one important aspect, Ratan. No, that this scrip can be used only to discharge the basic custom duty, and all other duties, etc., would not be covered under this, because there are earlier issues which are there that I can use MEIS for other thing would now no longer be there.
Correct. Yes.
But did they not say that duty payable under the Customs Act and the Customs Tariff Act?
It's only basic custom duty under the
Basic custom duty. Yes.
Sure, because I seem to.
I saw the use of the words basic customs tariff act.
Yes, that is there in para 4.56.
It says that is only for payment of duty custom levied under the first schedule to the Customs Tariff Act, namely basic custom duty.
Yes.
In para 4.56, that's specifically mentioned.
Correct.
That brings some clarity to this, and that's why most of the cases they require the payment of other duties, IGST and other things also.
So one question is like why mover is excluded from this benefit?
I answered it briefly, Ratan. If you can just elaborate on that, because since the duties are not paid at the time of import and they are deferred, so till the time the goods are cleared to the DTA, or if it's further exported, no taxes or duties are paid. That may be the reason, but that does not give the exemption for domestic procurement of, say, fuel, for that matter, for where duties are not available as credit. That benefits have ideally been allowed, but some reason they have excluded that entire thing.
Many of the exclusions they've taken from like drawback exclusion, because for all industry rate of drawback also they've been excluded. But their intention, at least, that basic custom duty reimbursement is there in all industry rate of drawback or CVD set, etc. prior to GST. So if you are not paying those duties, perhaps that exclusion was correct. But here, if like suppose if they are considering this procurement from domestic sources, and on which if I am paying this fuel or VAT, etc., or central excise duties and all, then they should consider maybe rate they can consider accordingly, but at least mover and this they should be part of the benefit of road tape.
Is it because they feel that in this warehousing scheme there is no substantial export or manufacturing activity that is being taken place, that is going on, which will require procurement of this fuel and etc. in substantial quantities for them to give a benefit? Will that be a reason? Because it may not be a full setup which is there, because there is no such restriction. I can if my exports are substantial and I have also imports, I can always convert my existing manufacturing facility into the warehousing under Section 65. So where I will definitely be procuring goods domestically and which will have these duties and taxes. So I do not know what is the reason for excluding such cases.
It could be cut and paste error, because
maybe again those people also can represent depending on factual scenarios. I don't think everybody can they be represent, but depending on fact scenarios, definitely they can make a representation.
I think maybe we can take queries if received in email. I think we can conclude.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, we can try to maybe respond wherever we are not done through the question and answers box, and then maybe do it. Fraser, any other participants? Otherwise, maybe we can close.
Yes, sir. There are a lot of raised hands, but we have overshot the time. We can extend the Q&A if you want.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sure. The next question is from the line of Mr. Saurabh Pukharkar. Sir, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask your question, sir.
Hello.
So you're audible. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. My question is that under the road tax scheme, the script is issued as soon as the export is done. What happens if you are not able to generate or bring back the export currency or if we are not able to bring back the export currency and the shipping bill is not closed and it is still open, then in what case what will happen?
Sir, the notification already provided that as per this FEMA regulations, like time limit is 9 months. So within 9 months you have to realize. If within 9 months you do not realize, then there is an extension also. You can get this extended, and within extended period, if you realize then you will be continuing to get that benefit. So benefit would be available even, after the moment you export the goods. They will not wait for you to realize that. But realization time is 9 months or extended period as the case may be. But if
Yes, sir.
within extended period also, if you do not realize, then you may have to surrender that benefit.
Okay, surrender the benefit.
Yes,
If it is utilized with interest, if it is not utilized without interest, isn't it?
correct.
Yes, sir.
And if my numbers are more, if the shipping bill numbers are more, in that case, if my export is going to held up or something.
No, there is no, I mean, number cap, etc., for you to get that benefit. So, as many shipping bill you file, you will get that benefit.
Okay. If number of bills are more, like there was one case that we are facing with the Iran. Due to there is a fund issue in the Iran, I received the money in USD and the shipment was gone in the INR. The bills are pending. More than 100 shipping bills are pending with the customs. With the money is received, but bills are pending, and they are not able to clear because the bank is not clearing it due to the sanction with the Iran. In this case, is my benefit going to held up or something?
Yes, sir, your benefit is linked with realization of export proceeds. So, the moment you realize, then benefit would be available, even though bills are still pending, etc.
But bank is not clearing the bills.
So, you
Bank
mean
is not.
shipping bills are not getting closed?
Yes, shipping is not getting closed. Money is received, but due to it was received in USD and the shipping bill was in INR, the bank is not clearing, and more than 100 bills are still pending with the bank, and they are showing as open. And in this case, what will be the means? What will be happen in the future?
It's
We do not feel any problem in anything, but I mean we can just discuss separately on this particular transaction, like your some particularly we can examine this transaction, that what was the difficulty you are facing with customs and with your ready banker.
Okay, sir. Then I can contact you directly. Then
Sure.
that will be the purpose. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
The next question is from the line of Mr. Venkoba H. Sir, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask the question, sir. Mr. Venkoba H, if you can hear us, request you to please unmute your line. Moving forward, the next question is from the line of Mr. Shubhadeep. Mr. Shubhadeep, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask your question. Mr. Shubhadeep, you have unmuted your.
Yeah, I have unmuted. Can I audible?
Yes,
you are audible.
Yeah, actually, my question is very straightforward. We are getting amount showing in our shipping bills for road tax scheme, but that is not as per the
Sir, you are muted.
So your line is muted, but I think we have answered this in the Q&A box. The those are all tentative rates which were being shown from 1st January 21 onwards. Now, depending on whatever is the rate as per the Appendix 4R, they will regularize that and the script will be issued for this particular amount. The entire script will be restricted to the amount with the rates shown in the Appendix 4R, and whatever was shown earlier, those are all, I think, tentative rates or benefits that were shown to you.
But now, sir, when the rates are already rolled out, why it is still showing the same 0.5% or 0.1%, that like that?
The system will have to be upgraded, and then everything will come in the near future. But
so when it is going to happen,
they will all be regularized depending on whatever are the rates put in the Appendix 4R. So I don't think you should go by what is reflecting now. You will get the actual benefit as per the rates in the.
Sir, any tentative date for the same? Any tentative date for the same? When it is going to happen? When it's going to start?
Nobody knows about it.
Sir, we are not running the customers.
Yeah, that's for sure. But from the industry side, we are very worried because we are not getting any.
Maybe at least you should expect at least a Diwali bonus big by this earliest if you want.
Yeah. Okay,
The rules are all still not out, and maybe we'll expect it, sir. Maybe it depends on, because it's taken almost 8 months now for the rates itself to be notified.
yes.
So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, it doesn't take so much time to release the money.
It could
Yeah.
also be, Ravi, that they are still getting the representation. Once they freeze the rate, then everything will fall in place.
Correct.
Sir, rates are already freeze, sir. Is there any chances of increasing the same? Because we are getting 3% as a MEIS benefit. Now we are getting 1.1%.
See,
So it's a loss.
as you saw, Mr. Kannan, he said he has already made a representation requesting the department to reopen the rates. So therefore, nothing is final.
All provisional. Whatever rates are out are provisional. At least that's what we expect. We expect the government to tinker with it, at least in genuine cases. So we'll have to see.
Actually, we are expecting, sir, more than 3%. Now we are very disappointed with the rates.
Yes, sir. Fraser, the next participant.
Next question is from the line of Mr. Vishal Malik. Mr. Vishal Malik, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask your question, sir.
Hello, hello. Hello, am I audible?
You're audible. Yes, sir.
I just have one question. Are we supposed to file separate shipping bill for items which are exported under advance authorization scheme, and for the items where we wish to take the ROTEP benefit? Do we need to file separate bills, or the same shipping bill will okay?
Ratan, you will take this?
Yes, sir. So, sir, that also one of the question we discussed, whether this discharge of export obligation, they've excluded this category, that if you discharge the export obligation against advance authorization, then you are not eligible for ROTEP. But whether advance authorization holder per se is not eligible or not is not clarified. Whether the problem being faced in GST, IGST refund claim under Rule 9610, etc., whether that problem would be there or not is not clarified. But in your case, like you say, that suppose if you have a separate unit and then
No. My question is different. What I am saying is, suppose I am filing a shipping bill. In a shipping bill, there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 different items. I may be claiming advanced license benefit on 2 items, and on next 2 items, I wish to take the ROTEP benefit where I am not claiming the advanced license. Do I need to file separate shipping bill or a common shipping bill?
Better to file separate shipping bill.
Better to file, but it's not defined yet.
Yes.
Because if you indicate the advance authorization, the system may not allow you to stake your claim for the ROTEP for the remaining items in the shipping bill. That's the reason I think it's better to have separate shipping bills.
That is why I was also having a doubt, because my system,
segregation is not possible.
Yeah. Fine.
It's better to have separate shipping bills. If it's under the advance authorization, then it's better to get it separate and ROTEP separate.
Fine, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ms. Hetal Doshi. Ms. Doshi, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask the question now.
Yep, thank you very much. My question is primarily on Schedule 2, restricted list as per Schedule 2 is mentioned. Does this include SCOMET items also?
Yes.
It is one of the ineligible category.
Yes, it will be.
So all products falling under SCOMET would not be eligible for ROTEP.
Because they are restricted for export with an authorization. So therefore, it will be governed by that restriction. Therefore.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ms. Shri Menon. Ms. Menon, your line has been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hello. So thank you so much.
Please go ahead, sir. You're audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So just wanted to reconfirm. We are eligible for ROTEP if we claim the EPCG, right? Just to reconfirm.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are eligible. EPCG along with ROTEP, both benefit are eligible.
I think we can close.
Can we close it with the?
Sure, sir. We can close the Q&A. You can go ahead and give your closing remarks. Sir.
Vishwanath sir, you take it.
Yeah,
Thank you, ladies. And, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please go ahead, sir.
No problem, right? Go ahead.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in this webinar. We know it is still in the early stages of the introduction of the scheme, and definitely there is scope for looking at the revision of the rates. And if you have any other further queries on this, any as to how the applicability of the scheme, you can get in touch with us. We thank you for being a part of it, and remain safe. Take care.
Thank you all.